I know I do apologize for us telling everyone the patch notes repeatedly, because I know a lot of you guys watch other regions, but not everybody does. But Pantheon does more damage to jungle camps on this patch, so it's a significant buff he's received. Allows him to clear faster, makes him relevant in the jungle again. His ultimate will allow him to be a semi-global threat in these lanes where T1 are going to be looking for prio nonstop. They have the Zeri Lulu, so it's not just Sivir wins by default down there. You have Azir into Ahri. You have Pantheon who can keep up with Vi dives and will be able to match those rotations, so it makes it very difficult to act.
Yep. Short, sweet, and to the point, Wolf. Let's get into game number 1. Well, as it turns out, there are more T1 fans in LoL Park at the moment. We are also on T1's side, I guess. I always do need to say the caveat.
Yeah.
Because they are just closer, and so it might just sound louder to me. But let's see whether T1 are going to be able to make this Pantheon work. For the first time in the jungle that we've seen on this patch, the only real change was the fact that the Q now does more damage to monsters. Yeah. But it's a pick that we've seen elsewhere, as well as, you know, in solo queue for a long time, that you can just pick up in the jungle. We did see it in support, I think.
Yeah, Keria played it, I believe. And Smart, in terms of what he's doing pathing-wise here, comes down to the bottom side, paths over there a little bit towards Drake. Then, you know, just going to go straight back to the top side where you can both threaten Dove here potentially as
All right. Well, Dove was looking for it, looking for the possible angle, as both of the teleports are down there towards the top side. So if Zeus did spend a bit of extra time underneath the turret, it could have been very detrimental.
But Owner he's not going to back until he has enough for his whip here, and he hits level 6. So he can actually ult in if there is a skirmish here or on Herald spawn. So comes over here, finds that final bit of experience to hit level 6, gets it a little bit faster than Croco, and now could just ult back in if T1 wants to start this one up. No Zeri coming over here too. Prince may just look for a plate trade, but that's much harder to actually get value from with the local gold now on Herald.
Well, now we've got, 4 members rotating up. If Prince can also get a lot here, but Croco's going to go for the engage. Zeus taking the brunt of the damage here as the Sultan Battery comes down. That's first blood going over to the Orbit Deception from the Ahri, as Zeus also is burning down. But Gumayusi, he's made it into the fight. Can he actually pop off? Finds the ult. Dove body slams to get himself away. Dredge line is fantastic, and Vault Breaker is going to be there. Liv Sandbox are going to be able to get out, although Gumayusi is still going very far forward. Faker's now underneath the turret. The stun comes through, and Kale has the shield. Oh dear, this is a lot of aggression, Wolf.
Sivir picks up a plate bottom side here and is timid about getting a second one, knowing that Owner has respawned, does have his Starfall back available. Well, I say back available, he didn't use it in the last fight, so this is going to be Herald, nor the first Drake taken by either of these teams. Liv Sandbox grouped up here for that said Herald. Sivir coming up here. Prince does have his ultimate and Ghost available here.
Yep.
Round done for Faker, and this fight is going to be such a pivotal one.
Well, Zeus, he's booking it, running real fast towards this fight now as the Orbit Deception does a little bit of damage. It looks like Owner won't be able to get over here. He's slowed down. There's the cast. Dredgeline doesn't quite hit the mark, as now they're going to try and go in onto the Pantheon, who takes so much damage. He's been tanking forever, though. The Vi is going to be traded. Zeus now just walking it out as Prince is on the wrong side of the fight. The charm picks up Gumayusi, though. The hook is going to land, but the Emperor's Divide is just amazing. Not enough to save Gumayusi, and now Closer is looking to clean this one up. Prince is going to grab it with the Boomerang Blade, and Liv Sandbox win another fight.
Liv Sandbox win a fight, grab Herald. Unfortunately, Dove is the one who holds the eye, so they can't drop it down here just now. Looks like they're going to back off and go bottom side, so basically not working out just yet for T1. Its biggest strength at this stage in the game is its survivability and its ability to turn fights with its ultimate. Like the Pantheon, just genderlessly calling Pantheon his ultimate, and the Starfall can turn a fight, but if you're just walking in as Pantheon, why'd you pick this one, you know? And he absorbs the wild growth so that Guma can't.
Well, he's going to dive on top of this Gragas, but Closer's over here. The Everfrost is fantastic. Cast is just going to pick off Zeus, and Croco will get in here. Sultan Battery doesn't really care about your Emperor's Divide, as Faker is just going to blast cone his way out. That's 6-2 now in kills, Wolf. Liv Sandbox is smashing this early game.
And Faker once again, tries to save with the Emperor's Divide, but unable to do so. Look at the plate gold here, significantly, so insignificant here, but Divide is accelerated. The Ahri, if she wishes she built Darksteel now, Closer's like, man, think of the value. But he's got an early Everfrost here, has stopwatch, and they're looking to fight a second objective here ASAP.
Yeah, Charm isn't going to hit the mark, but the Everfrost is. Hook connects as well, but Kale is going to have to get out of here. Faker diving forward. There's the re-engage, actually. Vault Breaker comes in. Orbit Deception is good, but the Boomerang not quite long enough range. That will mean the LIV Sandbox should be able to take this turret. Yeah, exactly right. Prince going to rotate over. Faker gets back towards the turret there, but isn't going to be able to save it. Can put up a Sun Disc if he would like to.
And Zeus is going to be the one who benefits most from this, but again, he's playing Sejuani, so it's not that significant. And LIV Sandbox here happy to say, yeah, well, you hit a turret a few more times here, you have demolished, but whatever. It's a 200 lead for 220 gold lead for Zeus here, and the rest of the map is blown wide open. First turret was a taunt. He's a bait. Like you feel like he's out of position. You feel like, oh, okay, this is the angle, but he just turns it around. And on champions like the Gragas, you know, like the Gnar and the Ornn, it's just so easy for him to do this. Croco.
Well, they're going to take Croco on a bit of a journey here. He flashes, but the Emperor's Divide still lands. Vault Breaker is going to get him to relative safety, but I don't think Croco's going to be doing that again. That was Emperor's Divide traded for Flash, Assault and Battery, and most of Croco's health bar.
Yeah, I think Owner was definitely considering ulting for the chase here as well, but doesn't have enough vision, isn't going to go for it. Still does lead to a lot of early turret damage, so I think the idea is good here for LIV Sandbox, but maybe hold the ultimate. I mean, you're this far ahead, you kind of get your pick of the litter. 300 more gold into his pocket here. And obviously the Horizon focus is going to be way better against the Pantheon and the Sejuani, but not as good against the Zeri.
Well, we're looking for a bit of a flank play here as the Assault and Battery comes down, and LIV Sandbox say, don't mind if I do. The Glacial Prison leaves a bit to be desired as Croco picks up the kill on the Sejuani, and now Carrier completely out of position. They are going to be able to lock that one down very comfortably as Closer is on the chase, looking to lock down his former teammates here, but they'll settle for a Dragon.
That's going to be a 2-Drake lead here, and we'll find out what the soul is going to be. Would be a nightmare scenario, I think, for T1 here if it is Hextech or Mountain, and the chances of either are quite high. So, I mean, with a 2-Drake deficit here and your comp trying to scale up right now as T1, you're hoping it's going to be a Drake that's less impactful despite the elemental buffs. It is Horizon focused, by the way, second year for Closer.
Went for it.
And like I was saying before that fight broke out, great at stopping the tanks from actually being impactful. Burning down these tanks is something that a lot of AP mages who pick Leandri's could do.
His Ahri.
And Closer is a master of these type of assassin champions. He's great at Ahri, right? He's great at LeBlanc. You know, Aurelia is what he was arguably most famous for, but he's played a lot of Zoe in the past too. You put him on the Ahri, you put him on the Sylas, and that's his comfort zone. And it feels like he's finally been unlocked at the last part of the season. He was a consistent / middling player for this team. It was all about Prince. But I think he's really come into his own in the second half of Round Robin 2 here, where he's like, yeah, Ahri is actually legit now. Sylas is really busted, and I can play champions that I like and not what's just good for the meta. What I like is good for the meta, and he looks way, 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 way more comfortable as a result.
Yeah, I mean, he just benefits directly from agency. We've had this conversation. If he has mobility and agency as far as getting these flanks and actually making a difference, then Closer looks absolutely amazing. You put him on a control mage, not exactly the same story, but this is exactly the same carry duo that we saw Gen G just with. And they flubbed some team fights, and then the comp still looked real good as Croco going to steal away a red buff, just being frustrating here in the enemy jungle. And LIV Sandbox, I think, can just go and do Baron if they would want to.
I think so.
They're not wanting to take the risk right now, wanting to catch someone out beforehand.
I think taking these fights sooner than later is definitely optimal.
Well, Croco's just going to try and walk past the Sejuani's taking so much damage, though. The depth charge just bought so much space as Closer takes down yet another kill. Owner dies as basically an afterthought as Gumayushi is ulted, but I just don't see an angle that he can actually stand and do damage. They've already taken out the jungler and the frontline tank. LIV Sandbox will be able to take Baron.
Yeah, it looks like T1 might get a Constellation bounty turret here in mid as LIV Sandbox have full control. I mean, if you try to force this fight, T1, I do not think you're going to like the result. As look at where Guma is. He's trying to find a way, trying to find an angle to get Gromps, or rather Krugs, on the blue side here. He's just so starved for money, it's not safe. To be in the mid lane with the rest of the team on Baron. T1 are so far behind this game, and that's why I was saying they should force a fight, Liv Sandbox should force a fight sooner than later, because the Zeri is an item.
And they are now 7,000 gold in the lead, but I still, man, I'm trying to come to terms with how good Closer is playing after seeing him have a really rough time earlier on, as Kyle is probably going to die. There's the explosive cast. He doesn't use the stopwatch, as this Drake is going to get taken down. That is sole point. But now Croco's going to have to get out of here. Dove, I don't think is going to survive this one, as the Grand Skyfall does come through, or the Grand Starfall, as it is now called. And that is 2 kills for T1 to answer back.
I was worried that Owner's R key on his keyboard was broken for a little while, but we do have now evidence that it is working.
Indeed.
that was the first time he's actually used the ultimate. They pick up a little bit of extra money around across the board with that bounty. But the problems they have to solve, the Sivir and the Ahri, and the Gragas, who still exists, even though he was killed, he's 1, 2, and 7. These problems aren't solved by that. They still will have to win a team fight, and those are the only kills they've gotten in so long this game, and it wasn't fair. There were 2 staggered kills on Liv Sandbox who were slightly overextended. But where's the front-to-back team fight here? We're going to have to see that before we can believe T1 has a chance.
Well, Glacial Prison does connect. There's a great Everfrost. The follow-up's beautiful as well. Look at the bouncy castle from Liv Sandbox. The Piggy was not having a great time, as now Closer is dashing forward. Looks for Carrier. Actually, looks for Gumayusi. Doesn't find him there with the charm. And Liv Sandbox, they'll settle for the inner turret for now. But these fights, every time one little bit of CC lands, it's the entire house. Faker and Gumayusi are standing next to the Sejuani. They just take half of their health bar in a matter of seconds. It's really, really hard to navigate how this fight is supposed to look for T1, but they've experimented with this. Let's try and hit some CC and hope that we can lock down a target, and it hasn't worked out. We need to see something else.
Yeah.
As Prince was backing on a ward. He is going to be able to spell shield the ulti, though. There have been an increasing number of Sejuani ultimates shot at Sivers who have spell shield available this past few weeks of LCK. Yeah.
Usually don't like to see that. Hey, he's got it upgraded once. Not the longest cooldown ever.
Well, Croco's decided that he's going to go for the fight. He manages to get into the backline onto Gumayusi, who's trying to get out of there. And immediately, Closer is polymorphed as the hook connects. What the heck was that, Kyle? That is going to seal the deal on this team fight. Faker's going to get flashed on. It's a double kill for Prince, and Liv Sandbox are done. They want to finish this game right here, right now.
Like we said, this is the most Liv Sandbox comp that they have ever been allowed to get. T1 let them draft this. They let them have it, and yeah, there are some really good parts of T1's comp. They are very good at scaling. They have some good skirmishing power, but they never got to show it. They never got to use it. They fell behind to Closer early, and it's lights out.
Yeah, these Nexus turrets going to be next on the menu as that charm onto Zeus is going to spell his end, at least after this stopwatch does go down. Immediately, 2 kills come through. This last Nexus turret will go down, and Liv Sandbox, they are 1 game away from taking down T1 like not many other teams have been able to do this year and even this season. First Nexus is going to hit the deck.
I think we'll see a pretty big swing in some of those goal difference average parts that we looked at before this, where it was all negative in the early